We've got an article here from Washington's blog. The FDA spies on whistleblowers to protect Big Pharma. This came up over the weekend. This story is about a former head of radiology at Yale University. And this guy was he was working for the FDA, looking at the amount of radiation coming out of certain devices, and he found that it was extremely high. And this one particular device from General Electric. And the FDA was not going to do anything about that because, might be because General Electric is so well connected within the current administration. Jeffrey Immelt is one of Obama's favorite CEOs, and so they were going to allow these very dangerous levels of radiation to continue on this GE device and approve it. And that's a very dangerous thing because, when people look at the FDA, they want a binary decision. They don't really want to read the insert. They don't really want to read the risk of this. They just know that, hey, this is a legal drug. The FDA has approved it. Therefore, it must be safe. People want a simple yes or no decision like that. And that's really a lot of what is going on at the FDA. The FDA is providing legal cover for companies and drug companies so that if they get sued by someone who has an adverse reaction to a drug or to a device, then they can always say in court, this was approved by the FDA. The FDA looked at this and approved it. There's a very incestuous relationship going on with the FDA and the pharmaceutical companies, as well as the medical device companies, as well as with big agra. And it only gets worse. And this is a very disturbing case. This was picked up when it happened by Democracy Now! It's now been picked up by Fox News. Washington Blog is talking about it. It's starting to gain traction. What they did with this guy after he came to the FDA, and they didn't want this to come out, he became a whistleblower. Then they went after him personally, just like the Clintons went after the women who accused Bill Clinton. They installed spyware to record his private emails and his surfing activity. They put cameras. They installed cameras to snap pictures of his screen, and then they use this information to smear him and other whistleblowers. See, this is the 21st century version of what Hillary and Bill Clinton did. It's gotten very much more sophisticated. They now have all of this spyware, and now you see that the FDA is acting like the NSA. Isn't that interesting? Even more so, look at this article that came out over the weekend. We've got the FDA who wants to monitor social media chatter about product risks. So there's been a lot of talk. It broke here on InfoWars. The food babe came on, and she talked about that additive in the food that is used in rubber mats. Doesn't really have any reason to be in our food except to make it look fluffy and pretty. And yet there's grave health concerns about it. It's banned in many other countries, but was in Subway bread. And so she came on, introduced a petition. It went viral, and within a couple of days, Subway backed out and said, we're not going to include it anymore. Turns out, though, that it's in over 500 different types of food, the same additive from other companies. So it isn't just one company is doing it. It's all these different companies, and the FDA approves those sorts of things. But they want to know when we have a problem with that. So they want to monitor the chatter on the internet, and they put out an RFP. They put out a request for somebody to monitor social chatter. Listen to this. It says the agency is looking for a contractor that can provide historical information about the sorts of conversations that consumers are having on blogs, message boards, social media sites about product classes that FDA regulates, like drugs and medical devices, and also food and tobacco, and then track the sentiment and the volume of those conversation shifts. Now, this is the kind of stuff that they want them to record. They want to, whenever these conversations spike or rise slowly or trend downward, they want that information to be gathered. They want to know the popular forums of online discussion. They want the most cited news sources. They want major themes of discussion. They want sentiment analysis, word clouds, message maps, and a sample of verbatim consumer complaints. That's right. They want to know what you're talking about, whether you're leaving a message on the InfoWars talking about, down the comment section, talking about an article. They want that logged. They want that reported. They want that categorized. If we're running stories and people are picking up our stories and putting them out on Facebook about additives and dangerous additives in food, they want to know the sources of that. Now, why would they want to know that? Because our government is involved in manufacturing consent. It's an information war. It's a PSYOP war. And this is social engineering. If you're an engineer You got a device and you want to be able to monitor what the output is. You don't want an open system. You want a closed loop system. You don't want to just put something into your black box and then if it comes out, you don't really know whether it's working or not. And if the system starts to drift, maybe you're not getting the output that you originally had. So in an engineering world, you have a closed loop system where you put something in, you've got a known system, the black box that's operating on this, and you get an output. And if things start to change, you want to monitor that output and make adjustments back into the input, or you want to make adjustments into your black box system. That's what the government is doing. That's why privacy matters. People say, I don't care if the NSA is watching me. I don't have anything that I'm hiding. Maybe all you're doing is talking about the Oscars or your favorite television program. But let me tell you something. They're looking at what you're reading, and they want to know if their propaganda is working. That's why the FDA is putting out this request for somebody to do this for them. That's why they've got this request for proposal. They want people to tell them if their propaganda is working. They want to know what you're thinking. Are you buying their mindless propaganda? Are they winning the info war? Are they winning the PSYOP? And then the other reason you need to be concerned about privacy is because it isn't just the NSA or the CIA or the FBI that is watching everything that you're doing. It is also people like the FDA are monitoring the actions of whistleblowers, and they can use it to blackmail, to destroy the character of people who are honest individuals who say, this device from General Electric is leaking dangerous amounts of radiation. Well, they want to destroy that guy because they want to help General Electric. And the really dangerous thing, as I see it coming down the road, is that the government, once everybody is attuned to the fact that the government is watching what everybody says and knows everything about everybody, and the public says we're fine with that, at that point, then the government can make up anything that it wants to about anyone. If you don't have any skeletons in your closet, they can make up those skeletons and they can tell the public, and the public will believe it. The public believed that the Tsarnaev brothers set down those backpacks. Now, we supposedly had video footage, and we were told that the government has cameras everywhere. The government sees everything. The government knows everything. And the government knows that those are the guys that we're looking for. Now, we never saw them setting the backpack down. We didn't have to see video of an explosion. We didn't have to see video of people dying, being torn apart by a bomb. But I would have liked to have seen this video that they supposedly have of the Tsarnaev brothers setting down the backpacks, especially when the backpacks were supposedly a different color than the backpack of one of the brothers. I would like to see that they set them down in the places where the explosion actually occurred. And of course, the FBI said, we've seen those pictures. We have those pictures. And the governor of Massachusetts said, yes, we have those pictures. And finally, when somebody asked him the obvious question, have you seen those pictures? And so, actually, no, I haven't seen those pictures, but the FBI told me that they've got them. See, that's the really dangerous thing. The really dangerous thing is when we become so dependent on the government and we're so intimidated by the government that we think that they know everything, that they see everything, and that they are going to be honest with us, that they're honest actors, that they don't have any ulterior motives, that the FDA is really not trying to cover for their crony capitalists at General Electric, that the FDA is really watching out for your health with the food and the drug stuff. I just talked on the nightly news last week to Mark Baker, Baker's Green Acres in Michigan. He's one of the farmers where the state of Michigan came in and said, you're no longer going to be allowed to have these types of pigs. We're only going to allow the types of pigs that are grown in big agri-factories. Now, your pigs, because you're letting them free-range feed on your farm, you've got pigs that they've got some hair on them, so they look like feral pigs. We're going to declare them to be invasive species. And that's what they did. They came after him and all the farmers who had been raising these types of pigs for decades, and on all the other farms except for two, Mark Baker and one other person who stood up to them. They came on the farms and they shot the pigs. Now, Mark fought them for almost 3 years, and he just won a decision last week saying that they are no longer going to come after him, but they wouldn't give a definition of what an invasive species is. So they're still going to threaten and intimidate the other farmers who don't stand up to their tyranny. They're going to still intimidate and threaten everyone who goes with their bluff, just like the TSA. Remember when we had John Corbett stand up to the TSA and show that they couldn't see the devices if it's on your side? What did they do? They gave John Corbett a lifetime pass. Don't worry about it. Don't complain. Just go along, and you know what? If you stand up, we'll let you go. But everybody else, we're going to enforce tyranny.